Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means no, this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast. It's early, but we're here, and we're ready to record. Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health, and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We have received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as multifocal atrial tachycardia and not quite a leap year. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Hey, Dr. London. What are you doing in my house?
This is I thought this is where this is where I found the setup. You know, you leave a trail.
Sure, yeah.
To where we record, and today the trail led to this. Is this your house then?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is where I live. You've definitely been over here before, but I mean, it's 2:00 in the morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Did we schedule this record? Like, this was on the calendar? I guess, did I miss it, or?
I can't speak to that. So my alarm went off.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up, and I was like, okay, well, that's my podcast alarm. I don't know if you said it or if I don't remember who said it, but
okay.
That means it's time. So then I went and I picked up the rope, and I kept pulling on the rope until I found.
Okay, so this is sort of a Pavlovian response. You hear this alarm and you say it's podcast time, and it doesn't matter what time of day it is or if it's been planned or there's any discussion for it. And you grab the rope that's near your bed and you follow it to the studio and you sit down and do the podcast. Yeah. That makes sense. And I'm
salivating a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because
you usually get some salty treats.
Yeah. Well, when I hear that alarm, yeah, my mouth just waters so much, and I pick up the nearest rope, and yeah, I just started tugging. So,
anyway, you wouldn't even come to the studio if you didn't know there was some salty treats on the other end, some crackers or something.
Yeah, that's why I do it. That's ultimately, people kind of wonder at my motivations for why would it take time out from my schedule, and yes, it is because there's a salty little treat.
Yeah. But I mean, okay. Do we want to get down to business here real quick, Dr. London? I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I mean, it is the last day.
I'm sorry to wake you up.
It is the last day of February.
Yeah. So we have, okay.
And maybe this is the perfect time to record, even if it is 2:00 in the morning and it's unexpected, because we got to handle to prepare for March. We got to do our March. I mean, we call it March Madness.
Okay, yeah, it always creeps up on us.
Oh, every single year. Well, in some years it's on a different, like the last day of February is on a different day, which really trips me out.
No, that doesn't make sense.
I swear, I read about it on like one of those bodybuilding forums, for freaks.
You can't trust, when it comes to, if they're playing with time and space. Mm-hmm. You can't mess with that stuff. Like, you're gonna ruin the continuum. Like, you can't make this a joke.
Okay, this is your anti-science thing. You say scientists control time and they need to stop. Scientists are time wizards and someone has to do something about it. You do talk about this quite a bit.
Yeah, well, so we have established time. We have that. That is the real science.
No,
that's the real science.
You don't need to go into your time cube stuff.
Then sometimes people come in. Sometimes
you have a whole thing about time goes left and it also goes right, and then actual time meets in the middle. I think we should just move past all that.
I tell you what day it doesn't go to. I tell you what time doesn't do. It doesn't add an extra day in a random month every few years. That's stupid.
That's one
that's
belief.
Ridiculous.
Let's not ostracize some of our listeners who might like the extra day, like a leap year. And
what to plan for March Madness?
Let's just move on. Yes, we have to do our company March Madness. March Madness traditionally, of course, is like a college basketball thing, but for us, it's when me and Dr. London just go crazy and we pawn a bunch of the stuff in the studio. which is now apparently been moved to my house. I don't know when this happened. I guess DJ Dylan did something with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'd say, to that effect, that was our producer Cameron, and then also with us, of course, is Digital in the House.
If you're playing with time and space, you can't mess with that stuff. Like, you're gonna ruin the continuum. Like, you can't make this a joke.
So yes, we do have
it's March Madness where we go crazy, we lose our damn minds.
Yeah.
On selling a bunch of stuff we grab in the studio.
Yeah. So, do you want to go first, or do you want me to? Picking out something to sell.
Yeah. So I was thinking the microphones.
Yeah. Do we ever use them?
I mean, like, I'm spitting into it right now. It is catching a lot of my spit.
Okay.
But I just don't. I think I can let my spit fly. Am I this paranoid about COVID still?
Well, okay. Because you have your spit bucket as well, and I'm wondering if maybe you can maybe pick one, either the spit bucket or the microphone.
Let's get rid of the microphones. Let's do the podcast speaking into our collective spit buckets.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So we'll finish this episode with the microphone. We'll do this one with the microphone, but the next episode we're going to switch to
just because it's already
speaking
set
of
up.
the spit buckets.
Yeah.
What do you want to? So Mike's. I mean, we're doing this at a pawn shop. We'll get at least like $20 for that. That is a lot of treat. That's a lot of salty treats we can get. That'll be a lot of nice little salty treats.
So I have these beer goggles laying over here, and
okay.
Yeah. So they're everybody knows what beer goggles are. They're essentially glasses that you fill up with beer, and then they're kind of thick, like they're thick prescription lenses, except they are filled with beer. So you're trying to, you can only drink it from the top. So the whole time you're wearing them, you're trying to sip up.
Yeah.
So it's pretty difficult unless you spill, and then you can kind of catch some as it drops down.
Well, you are spilling quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, because I like to nod my head in sort of an Eastern culture sort of fashion.
And it only holds like maybe a fifth of a beer. So it's very slow to drink your beer too.
Yeah. No, and people,
you're constantly having to refill it.
It makes March Madness a lot slower, the process. Because I want to go mad.
Yeah, because you insist on wearing them while we're trying to pick out, or we're trying to go insane picking out the items we're pawning.
Yeah, and ideally I would kind of get a little buzz going while we're doing it, but unfortunately I am just mostly getting frustrated and getting beer in my eye and spilling it a lot.
That is frustrating.
So I guess so this actually I do want to keep now that I talk about it. Like this is actually has a lot more appeal.
Oh, now that you've talked about all the negatives, it's sort of revealed a charm to you that you enjoy.
Well,
the flaws are what make it perfect.
Yeah, well, it's nobody's perfect, and I feel like maybe that's my toxic trait.
I have heard that
is that I love my beer goggles, even though they are horribly inefficient and they make everything more difficult, including drinking.
Yeah.
So anyway, keeping that actually.
Do you know Do you know what my toxic trait is? I just learned this out the other day.
Okay. What'd you learn out?
I just found out that, you know how I swipe shoes?
Yeah. Like with each other. Lefts become rights, rights become lefts.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. I meant swap shoes. I'm constantly swapping people's shoes.
Yeah.
Apparently that's very toxic.
That is super toxic. Because you always say righty tighty lefty loosey, but they both become tighties once you do that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, typically that saying is about how all left shoes are looser than right shoes. But now, with both of them going the other way, it's sort of caused a lot of chaos in my family. I've done this mostly with my family. I do it with my kids every morning. I switch their shoes, and so they put them on backwards.
They keep walking sort of away from, their feet walk away from each other or towards each other, depending on how you swapped them.
If they don't immediately just swap them back, which is what they do 99%. I put a lot of work into the shoe swapping thing. It doesn't work out most of the time. And apparently that's toxic. It's toxic that you do that. That's what my kids keep saying.
It sounds like you've never been a victim of it. That's how you somehow come out with a conclusion that
how do you think toxic. I learned? You think I just decided one day to be like this? You think I got out of bed and said, hey, I'm going to be a toxic shoe swapper? It's naive. Okay.
Well, I'm
Dr.
sorry.
London.
Yeah.
You don't think this happened to me? You don't think I grew up dealing with my shoes being swapped?
Wow. Okay. No, I'm sorry to say that. That was insensitive of me. Do you want me to move on? Or I'm sorry.
Don't.
I guess.
Tell me not to swap shoes.
Okay. So I also have the sundial here. Just to get back to the March Madness.
Oh, right.
I do have the sundial here, which I've been using to keep track of our schedules, but obviously it's not working because once again we're here at 2 a.m.
Well, obviously, I mean, it seems like a waste of time to even make schedules if you're simply going to wake up whenever your alarm goes off, grab a rope, and just walk it to the studio.
Yeah, and I just need to clarify there. Like, I didn't even consult the sundial before setting that alarm, nor before coming here today. So, like, obviously, I'm not using it. It's a waste. So
we'll just ditch it.
Yeah, that's worth at least $300,000. Take that into the pawn shop, see what we can get. And
okay, I mean, I think we've gotten rid of enough weight to keep my house from sinking.
Yeah, well, because it is a 6-ton sundial, like it is not small.
Well, yeah, and that's the point of March Madness every year is to pawn stuff. A, to be able to afford as many salty snacks as we want, peanuts, whatever, and B, to prevent our studio from sinking into the core of the earth.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Sinkhole at first, and then ultimately the core. That was our producer Cameron Digital in the house. And then also, Cameron, you said that we have a special guest to look forward to. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. Linden.
All right. So do look forward to that. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So our marketing demographics have actually changed a little bit to less literate consumers. And so the nature of the feedback has also changed in response to that. So this week, the feedback comes in the form of a hand-drawn picture. It's actually drawn in crayon, and it looks like it's a crayon drawing of a log. Okay, so it's kind of a longish shape, oval or something.
Sure.
And it has an arrow drawn on it, labeling it as pop. So I guess that means poop. Maybe they meant to say poop. So it's POP.
So our listener feedback is a crayon drawing of poop, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know if that's commentary on us or just what they did that day.
There's two interpretations here.
Okay.
A, they think our recent episodes have been duty.
Okay.
Well, pop like it is.
Well, it's pop.
Okay, call it pop. And I can't say that I disagree. I think that your attitude and vibe lately has been very toxic.
Okay.
So that's.
I mean, I haven't been swiping shoes, but.
I haven't either. I've been swapping shoes.
Yeah. Okay, so that you said that's one interpretation.
Oh, right. And then the other one would be that you,
For the pop.
in our medical lessons for the last 2 months, have talked exclusively about poop stuff.
Oh, maybe I got in their head. Okay.
Yeah. You've been talking about intestinal diseases and very gross sort of bodily actions that are disgusting and disturbing.
And I so wish that today was different.
That's another poop subject. I'm tired of this. This is disgusting.
So
this is sick.
Anyway, so first, thank you to our listeners for, sending us this feedback. I know it's not always easy for you to articulate your thoughts in any form of writing. So thank you so much. But now for today's medical topic, microscopic colitis. Microscopic colitis is a condition in which tissue at first appears normal during a colonoscopy, but the pathology of the biopsy of the colon reveals inflammation. So, in other words,
what happened to medicine about nice stuff instead of all this gross stuff? I do feel like even when we're not talking about the poop stuff, you're talking about blood and you're talking about tumors and you're talking about cells. What happened to medicine actually being about nice things? How about cool horses or fun dogs or going to the mall with your friends? What happened to medicine actually being stuff that made life better?
Okay. Here's the thing. I can only talk about the medical aspects of going to the mall with your friends once. And then I can't do that again. That's out of the curriculum, we cover it.
But why do you have to pick such stinky things though? That is a huge problem I have. Almost everything you pick smells like shit. Even when we're not talking about poop stuff, it's stinky stuff. I know not everything in medicine is stinky. I know for sure that's a fact.
Who told you that? How do you know that?
The Stinkmeister General.
Okay, well, I told you not to talk to him.
He said he knows everything about all stinks and knows what's stinkiest and what's not stinky. And he said not everything in the hospital that goes on is stinky. And yet that's all we focus on this show. I guess because it's a comedy show, it's funny to you that people are just smelling all these gross smells.
Hold on, it's not a comedy show. This is a medical education podcast. If someone makes a gag once in a while, then that's on them.
I mean comedy in the Shakespearean sense. It's not a tragedy.
Okay, so it's tragedy plus time is what all of our stuff is.
Yes. Kind of. Okay,
well then that does add up with this. So in microscopic colitis, which is in a sense tragedy plus time, there's inflammation of the colon, but you can only see what caused that inflammation with a microscope. So clinically, microscopic colitis will present with a chronic history of non-bloody, watery diarrhea, and patients will...
Oh, God, it's just...
So when I say chronic, of course, that's time. That's an extended period of time, so it is...
Yeah, sign up for our Patreon so you can watch the video of this episode and see the smile come over Dr. London's face as he gets to the, watery diarrhea part of his Wikipedia page he's reading or whatever.
And patients will also have a history of autoimmune disease as well, usually because this is inflammation like that. So varieties of microscopic colitis include lymphocytic, collagenous, mastocytic, and all of these types, they may respond to steroids. So that'd be the potential treatment plan. Okay, but yes, I agree with you that these are all, to some extent, tragedy plus time.
Name one thing, one medical thing in the hospital that doesn't smell stinky. Because now I'm starting to question if the Stinkmeister General was wrong.
Well, no, I think whenever we covered a lot of the heart stuff, that wasn't so stinky.
Hearts aren't stinky? I don't know. Okay. What do they smell like?
Yeah, meat. Fresh meat, depending on the timing.
Stinky thing,
I guess.
Meat.
Yeah. Okay, well, we can move on from there.
Okay.
All right, Cameron, you said that we have a guest today. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. London. We have a very, very, very special guest today.
Okay. Well, hello there.
You don't believe me?
No,
I look at your face, and I put about 4 varies out there, and you're like, okay, and then you move on. You don't believe me that we have a very, 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 very special guest.
Was it a giveaway that I looked to the blank wall here, and that's what I said hello there to?
I think it was just the look of disappointment on your face.
Yeah. Thank you. but that's just how I look on. Like, I give that face to every patient for sure.
Talk to our guest. What is wrong with you?
Oh, hello there. My name is Dr. LennonSmith.com and the sub-producer Cameron. What was your name?
Hi, I'm Dr. Hannah Garcia. I am a psychopharmacological illustrator.
Okay. Wow, that's so many things in one. So you're a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
That is not an official diagnosis.
Okay.
But some of my family members might say so.
Oh, wow. These are family members that are alive that you haven't like psychotically killed, right?
Oh, of course, they're all breathing.
Okay, that's
Technically.
That's not
breathing
that's not
counts.
even that's not necessarily the best answer. Okay. Like on ventilator. Anyway, well, hello there. That was me being tragedy plus time, of course. I was just playing like that. But okay, so psychopharmacological illustrator. Cameron, how do you track down, because I know Cameron does a lot of drawings of what he thinks is medicine.
Actually, we met on Instagram. He liked a photo of one of my tattoos, one of my lower back tattoos.
Yes, my sort of collection. I mean, it's the tramp stamp champ is what I'm called. Sort of my friends and my family as well, my parents and everything call me the tramp stamp champ because I collect photos of lower back tattoos.
I remember the name. It's just, I didn't know you wanted our podcast listeners to know about sort of your alter ego.
My side hustle as the tramp stamp champ. Yeah, no, I'm proud of it, not ashamed of it. I collect Instagram photos of tramp stamps. And
He was very polite in my DMs. I usually don't get such polite DMs when I do post pictures of my lower back tattoos, even though they are psychopharmacologically related.
Well, and that was what was so interesting is that you could tell that it was sort of medical. And after being on this podcast for 150 episodes, I can tell when things are drug and pill and medicine related and things aren't. Like, for example, like this watch, that's not medicine. Right? Or am I right, Dr. Linden? Is that medicine? It's not medicine.
It's honestly that I'm on the fence with that one because it's.
Well, if you call it a chronometer, then it could be used medically.
Oh, okay, so it is medicine.
A chronometer, if you want to pronounce it a different way.
Okay, so I still have a lot to learn. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I apologize.
But Cameron, that's why we have the guest
that
here.
is, and
that's why.
But that is how we met. Is that, of course, while I'm collecting all these photos, I'm also DMing everyone that took the photo. And we just had a polite conversation, and I sort of got to learn a little about her, artistry. Your illustrations. Do you want to talk a little about what you do?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, I am a doctor in psychopharmacology, but I am also an artist. I trained at the Sorbonne in France, and also I spent many, many years in Italy studying the works of Da Vinci, who, is the father of medical drawings in terms of anatomy and shading and chiaroscuro and whatnot. But I really was drawn to the more modern and clean lines of pharmacological neurology and very, very, very small, even microscopic particles in medicine.
Wow, yeah, I was going to say, because Da Vinci was kind of controversial in his time. He got in trouble with the church for cutting into dead bodies. That was really seen as a bad thing. Whenever you're talking about pharmacological illustrations, you're talking about much smaller things that, the church wouldn't even know about it.
The church had no idea. They might have called them angels because of how microscopic they are, or demons.
Because of how microscopic, yeah.
Because of how microscopic they are. Disease in that time was seen as God's retribution and judgment.
Still fully what I believe, and I think we believe on this podcast, right, is that disease are little demons that get inside your body.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, not in sort of like the sense of God's punishment. Disease is tiny little demons that get into your bloodstream. Am I wrong, Dr. Linden? This is my beliefs.
No, I know it's your belief, and I know you've been emphatic on it. And every time that I've tried to present an alternative opinion on it, you've helped pretty strongly, and then kind of turned my mic off. Is usually how that turns out.
Well, you saw that picture that I drew of they're little red guys with pitchforks, and they're in your and then you're in your blood, and you're telling me that picture that I drew isn't some sort of evidence that doesn't like.
Well, you see, in psychopharmacological illustration, we can use our imagination and represent different particles as tiny, tiny little demons if we so choose.
And that's great as long as I, really emphasize that I'm not using my imagination. I'm being as literal as possible. Every disease that any person ever has, if you get down to it, is a bunch of guys in little red outfits with pitchforks. I'm sorry. Prove me otherwise. Dr. London, I know you hate me for this.
I know. And once again, every time you say prove me otherwise, and I start to, you really don't let me.
See, it's his charm. He did
Thank you.
lay out this theory on my DMs. But he's just so charming. I didn't even mind the blatant ignorance, willful ignorance displayed by him.
That's actually my opening DM when I go to these Instagram profiles of people's lower back tattoos. I open and I say, "Hello. I believe that disease is tiny little demons, physical little demons with pitchforks floating around in your bloodstream."
That's so much better than a dick pic. You have no idea how welcomed that was.
Well, and it's just like people on Tinder or whatever, they're always like, "Hey, how was your weekend?" And it's like, how about let's get past the small talk and get to the real stuff. Hey, I think that my blood is chock full of demons. Just like get to the real.
I would be very amenable to that if I got that message on Hinge or Bumble. I don't use Tinder, but Hinge or Bumble.
You were banned.
I would respond.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I the only one here who wasn't banned from Tinder?
I was.
Yes. I think you're not using Tinder right.
They change their rules all the time. Yeah.
Okay. So you're both very much in agreement on this point. You must have covered this also in the DMs because, for me,
no, I just know that most people I know have been banned from Tinder for one reason or another.
Most people I know have also been banned from Tinder.
These rules, you can't keep up with these rules.
I only know artists and doctors, so.
Only doctors for me, and then I also know, I guess, one producer.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes.
And then Dylan, Dylan, but he's kind of a doctor.
The closest thing to a doctor aside from myself.
Yes.
So, let's see. Oh yeah, you were saying that compared to getting a picture of someone's genitalia, Cameron's, all his DMs were really kind and polite.
Yes, very charming, charming.
Oh, charming. Which that's such a huge step further than what I would have thought.
Well, she did also say, I believe, willfully ignorant. So, I mean, I think that balances each other out, right?
Yeah. I think if you have half of one and half of the other, you have a whole.
Yep, and that is math, Dr. London. I know you're not much of a math guy.
So, so your illustrations, do you do most of your illustrations in the form of a tattoo? That's the part I probably should have jumped at first, because...
Oh, no, the one that I had tattooed on me was the seminal work that inspired my life's passion. It was associative and sensory motor cortical least ganglia circuit roles and effects of abused drugs. It was those pathways, and the simple lines were magnetic to me, and I had to have it on my flesh.
Yeah. Okay. So these addiction pathways that come up from that drug abuse. And Cameron, you're following this, right?
Oh, yeah. It sounds like when the demons are hustling, when they're moving really fast. Is that what you're... Go ahead.
Yeah.
That actually, yes, that's quite correct.
Okay.
In an analogy or a metaphorical sense, not actual demons.
Yeah, just an actual literal, just tiny little demons. Go ahead.
Sure, yes.
So,
sure.
Yeah, okay. I feel like, once again, Karen, you keep saying prove me wrong, and we keep just pitching. Anyway, okay, so that was your favorite, or your, what you called your seminal work, your seminal illustration.
Very. It was the one that possessed me to draw these teeny, tiny, tiny particles.
And I'm sorry, using the word possession is also not that smart around Cameron when talking about this, what he believes to be demon-related activities, because he's going to take it in another direction, I think.
Already have, yeah. I've taken it that direction. I'm running down it at full speed.
No, that drawing really did. I do feel it within my soul. It speaks to me on that level. And I do think that possession in ecstasy is the correct word.
So I guess I'm in the wrong here. Okay.
Yeah, usually.
Again.
Okay, great. So
I'm not that I'm counting it.
Yeah, but
it's.
You say you're not counting, but I can see you marking on the chart a little mark.
It was twice.
Yes.
It was twice that you were wrong.
Okay. So so you said that was your seminal work. How did this all start, though? What drew you to this illustration?
What drew me to that particular illustration was that to any of these illustrations, it's the cleanliness of the lines. Once again, most artists work in a specific medium. People who work in psychopharmacology illustrations tend to use MS Paint. But as that was discontinued a number of years ago, we've been scrambling to find a new medium.
For our listeners,
you still haven't been able to find. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dr.
For our listeners, that is multiple sclerosis paint. But yes, go on, Cameron.
Multiple sclerosis paint, yes. But now the preferred medium I like to work with is construction paper and Sharpies.
Okay, I've read about this.
Oh, wow.
Yes, this one is one of my. I know it's a podcast, but I thought I'd bring in my most recent work from Stahl. This is the Mesolimbic dopamine reward circuit. And look at these clean lines. Look at the motion that's going on in here. I was very proud of this one. This one was one of my...
So this is an example of what happens when... I guess if we're being honest here, what doesn't happen when people listen to this podcast. So for a Joe Rogan podcast, people can listen to the podcast and then all of these pleasure pathways will be activated in the brain.
No, that's the third time you've been wrong. This does not happen with a Joe Rogan. This is not, there's no empirical evidence. That is not an evidence-based statement.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. So Cameron, do you want to take over? I feel like I'm fumbling here.
I mean, Dr. London, it just sounds like you were so sure about that Joe Rogan thing.
I've studied him.
I'm so sorry.
I know we've all studied the way he uses his float tank and the way he does drugs and like the way that he just sort of agrees with whatever the last person said. But like that doesn't mean okay. Anyway, we can move on from that, right?
I don't.
But I want to see more of your
I wanted
work.
to show you.
And we should describe it,
of course,
right?
Of course,
yeah.
yes.
Because it's an audio format.
I brought you some of my earlier work. I thought some of my early... I got them from my mother's refrigerator. She put them up.
I want to see.
This one is the aripiprazole as partial agonist. I got a 98% on this one from my teacher.
Oh, great! This is antipsychotic.
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Kendrick.
What class was that?
That was the introduction to psychopharmacology illustration.
Or were you asking what class of drugs?
Wow.
Oh, what class of drugs?
No, just that she. Oh, I was asking the 98%, and I just didn't realize. It sounded like you had done that as a kid, and it was on your mom's fridge.
No, I was in medical school.
Okay.
Of course. Got it.
This was after the Sorbonne.
That's such a difference from my medical school experience because I'm so bad at drawing. None of my pictures made it to the fridge. I kept drawing all these drug interactions and the professors would like call me in after class and they'd be like, so, no, you're doing great, but in this part you seem to be struggling a lot. Maybe you need a tutor. And I had spent a lot of time out of class just to pass, honestly, whenever it came to drawing pictures of how drugs work.
We have talked about before, your medical school was on a boat. And I can imagine that makes drawing kind of difficult, right?
It was rocking a lot.
You're just swaying a lot, lots of rocking. You're dealing with the waves, and I mean...
Yeah. I was pretty good at drawing squiggly
there's
lines.
A little grace. I'm saying there's a little grace there.
I have a if you ever decide to go back to school, which you might since you have been wrong 3 times so far. Not that anybody's counting. But advice is to, use some subterfuge and maybe flatter your teacher. Like I said, Dr. Kendrick was my intro teacher. And on this project, the mechanisms of cocaine-based DAT block, I drew a little... That's me.
Picture of
little stick figures of you holding hands with your Dr. Kendrick there.
Dr. Kendrick, yes.
And then it's sort of a crayon drawing of a big semicircle with a couple arrows.
It's definitely Sharpie. We're only allowed to use Sharpie.
Oh.
This is clearly the cell membrane, and these are the pathways.
Cameron, can you not see the membrane?
No, I'm just trying to describe it just so the
clear.
listeners can picture this sort of amazing artwork that we're seeing. It's sort of a Sharpie of arrows pointing and then also circles.
So listeners, imagine a cell membrane and channels in that membrane. And I think that'll be much more clear for you.
And what does it say up in the corner there? It says something...
Mechanism of cocaine-based DAT block.
Oh, right.
Of course.
Obviously. No, I knew that. I knew that. I'm just as smart as y'all.
The simplicity of the diagrams is what drew me to the art form in the first place. So
yeah,
simplicity.
You've done a great job. These are amazing drawings. Oh, I like this.
This one's the best one.
And you got an 8.
I did.
Looks like you got an A+
one,
on this one.
I got an A+ on this. I got 100%. This is the dopaminergic pathways, but this one is before antipsychotic treatment, so you can see how the dopamine is binding to the receptors here.
Mm-hmm.
Now I
fits in just perfectly because it's the right shape.
I see this gingerbread man sticker wearing a Santa hat. Did you put that on there, or was that put on by your teacher?
Did you draw that?
Dr. Kendrick put that on.
Oh wow, that was a Dr. Kendrick thing. And you're fine with
it was Christmas.
You're fine with him like writing on your
her.
Wow.
Sir.
I am so sorry.
Meredith Kendrick.
Wow. Okay, this is embarrassing.
But you're fine with her drawing on your artwork, like actually putting the grade with Sharpie on your, beautiful art? That doesn't kind of like ruin it, right?
No, it adds to it. It's a collaborative effort. Once you send it to the editors, they can frame it however they want, and they're going to label it however they want. So you have to get used to collaboration early on in your career.
And Cameron, maybe you haven't opened up enough medical textbooks, but when you see these illustrations and you see the grades on them, that's how you know that they're really good.
Oh no,
because otherwise you're just kind of guessing.
Well, and I'm sort of thinking back, if I think of Van Gogh's Starry Night, wouldn't it be so much less like gross and shitty looking if it said A+ on it? So you kind of knew that it was really
you
appreciated.
Knew what you were looking at as a quality painting.
Okay.
A lot of modern art.
I take back
policy.
my criticism. I apologize.
Yeah.
If you go to the Tate Modern and go to the Georgia O'Keeffe section, hers are clearly graded by her instructors.
Every
it's
single
very
one.
clear on all of her paintings.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the main thing I notice and see when looking at Georgia O'Keeffe's work,
Yeah.
That's the most inspiring part of her work.
Easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, at one point, like before I knew what to look for, I guess, whenever it came to art, I used to just follow sort of the directions of the lines and how it would lead into, and, things like color and lights. But now I do know to look first for, did they get an A+? Did they get what % did they get? And then I knew like, okay, no, that's Picasso's good because he got really good grades.
Well,
and if you notice, none of the art in the museums have the stickers on it because every piece of art with the sticker are in private collections because those are the best ones.
So really what you see in a museum is the failures.
The trash.
Yeah, the kind of garbage that no one wants to.
Or just the homework that, the scrap that they put on scrap paper.
It's busy work. Yeah.
Busy work. Exactly.
Okay, yeah, like Mona Lisa, for instance. That was busy work.
That nobody put that on their fridge.
Yeah, they had to put it in a museum.
That's not going on anybody's fridge.
A lot of the artwork that I do, because I'm an artist as well, and a lot of the art that I do starts out with a bunch of numbers within a lot of the lines, and that tells me which colors I should be using. And that's just sort of for my pieces. You know what I mean? Like to really like represent me. It'll be a picture of, maybe like
charming,
a mermaid.
So charming in his simplicity.
like Kermit.
It's just I can't get enough of it.
It'll be like Kermit, and he's hanging out with Miss Piggy, and they're maybe like sitting on a log.
He really doesn't know anything. It's just so cute.
If it has the number 3, that's green, and so you can use any
That's
shade
right.
of green you want. And that's been some. I actually have an exhibit that's going up later this month, but if you want to check it out, some of my work. not to plug anything and to advertise myself too much.
Are any of them graded?
I think they're really good, but they haven't been graded yet.
Okay, well,
I think you need another opinion.
It's just I don't know who to submit them to. This has become a huge issue. I keep handing them to people and they don't know what to do with it.
Well, do you hand them a pen as well? I mean, or a sticker? A book of stickers?
A book of stickers, a sheet of stickers, a single
I'm supposed
sticker.
to provide the stickers? Okay, I just assumed they would have it.
Make sure it's a red pen as well.
It's so obvious that you haven't been to, an advanced, a doctorate level education. It's just okay. And it's super awkward for me trying to cover for you here, Cameron.
It helps that you're so charming. It does.
I really appreciate that. And the more you say it, the more I believe it too,
I'm glad there's something that you believe in that's true.
And that's that I'm charming and that our blood is filled with demons. What are you talking about, Dr. London?
I was going to say, we feel like we've been covering a lot of ground here, but our chores are kind of always here waiting for us. And maybe it's time to go ahead and get to work on the chores. Maybe one of them will be find pens and stickers.
Do you want me to explain what the hell you're talking about, Dr. London? Our listeners are going, what? What do you mean chores?
I thought they would understand from that. Like, I thought it was pretty clear. But yes, go ahead.
So here's the thing. Dr. London and I have unfortunately been neglecting everything on our to-do list. All of our chores, like do the laundry, or do your dishes, or scrub Dr. London's little mustache. We've been putting it off for months now. TV's been really good. It's been cold outside.
I haven't even remembered to grow the mustache to be able to clean it. Like, it's been so bad.
Ugh. I'm grossed out with how behind we are on our chores. So Dr. London and I invented this chore wheel. It has every single chore, every single task on it that we need to accomplish. And so every single week we spin it, whatever it lands on, we have to do that. Dr. London, you know what that means though?
Well, I mean, yes, it does mean that I would have to.
Am I expected to do chores?
Yeah.
If you could help us out, that would be really, really great. In fact, actually, if you could spin that chore wheel for us, that would be awesome.
Oh, yes. I'm qualified to do that, yes.
Okay, thank you. It's about time someone's been qualified for this. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so just go ahead and climb up there.
And okay, yep, and go.
Ooh, exciting.
Great.
Oh, no. Of course we have to do this one.
Of all times, too. Like, do you want to say it or do you want me to?
Yeah, you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, so the mayor has been getting on to us for a while, and I was hoping that we wouldn't have to do any more of these, but the mayor's been trying to boost the tourism in this city, and so...
Well, what's the chore? What's the name of the chore?
Tour of the city, and it's focus on the museum this time, is the chore name. And that's how it's written. That I'm not, paraphrasing. That's how it's written. But
so the mayor wants us to do like sort of a tourism promotional video or audio or whatever of the museums in the city.
Or at least, I don't know if it's a promotional thing necessarily. I think it's more just gathering up all the details and then, I guess now that I talk it out, yes, I guess it is that. Okay.
Well, I mean, this is kind of perfect. We have an artist on with us.
Yes. And for the museum.
So do you have any, pieces of art you'd be willing to, are we creating our own museum?
Are we
right
curating?
Now, or are we just talking about an existing? Are we curating? I'd love to curate.
It's a mix, okay? So, because the mayor did say we are running out of artwork because a lot of art thieves have been coming in, like world-renowned art thieves. So that alone is actually kind of good for our tourism.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, a lot of Carmen
publicity. Yeah.
Sandiego's been hopping by. A lot of Ryan Reynolds types from that one movie, and all of those.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Reynolds himself is actually a very
Okay, that
renowned art
explains the
thief.
video
Oh,
footage I saw.
wow.
Okay, the security footage. Yeah.
He can get in anywhere.
That's how
'Cause
he
he's so
sneaks.
famous.
And that sort of explains
He takes advantage.
explains how he can have so much money despite not really being a good actor.
Yeah, that Green Lantern. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
So his most famous role. So he, anyway, so because of people like him and other art thieves, which honestly, I don't know if they coordinated, but like in the last week, like 600,000 pieces of art. We had a fully stocked museum. They were all stolen
Oh, no. Yeah.
separately.
600,000.
The mayor compromised a little bit on the security budget. He spent a lot on lighting. He was saying like, you gotta have more lights on these photos and this art. Which I said like,
Yeah, he said that'll keep it secure. He was like, thieves only steal in the dark. And we kept trying to explain to him that's not true. Thieves use light all the time. It really doesn't stop them from taking it. But he said, no, if we just shine a light on all of the art, no one will
told
take
him
it. And then
some art will actually get worse. Like it'll fade away. It'll get worse over time if you have too much light exposure. Like that can be bad for it. But once again, he was very emphatic. Like, well, you got to crack some eggs to make an omelet.
If some will, you can definitely the grade will fade. That's the first thing that fades.
Oh no! And then you would never know. You'd have to trust the
Mhm.
manuscripts that they actually got that
Exactly.
real grade. But of course, he only hired one security guard, and it's a man who is wearing like a sleeping cap and has a candle on a plate. And when he hears a noise, he goes shh, and that's sort of all he does. It doesn't deter criminals at all.
Well, I'll say, I mean, because I watched the security footage, all that we have evidence-wise is that man in the sleeping cap on the ground with the candle fully burned down. So I think he maybe like was sleepwalking all night. Like I don't think he rests enough. Maybe because he had to do all the shifts.
He's so sleepy. He's
Yeah,
so
and
sleepy. It's insane.
he kept saying honk shoe.
If you're gonna have one security guard, don't have it be the sleepiest.
And
man
also don't
around.
have him
That's
work
a mistake.
all the shifts. Because you're supposed to switch
Yeah.
off after
Oh,
however many
yeah.
hours. He just kept going.
Well, I think he was just assuming there's so much light that he would only need him for a few hours a day. Oh, there's so much light in this room. You don't
and
need
he couldn't
anyone
fall
else.
asleep. It's so bright.
Yet he
Oh,
managed
yeah.
to fall asleep.
Didn't even need the candle.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, so props to him. So that security officer has obviously been promoted because he did such a great job at sleeping.
Yeah, he's head of security now.
He was a subordinate before.
We do have to find some new artwork for this museum, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's. I guess that's the short.
So,
of
I mean,
it.
Dr. Garcia, would you be willing to donate some pieces for the museum?
I'd have to ask my mother, but I'm sure she would. She's a patron of the arts. So yeah, I'm sure I could donate at least these 6 drawings that I've done from my earlier career.
Now, does she have an art agent that we need to go through? You know, some like that the museum needs to contact that handles all of her expensive art, or should we just contact her directly?
Yes, that would be my Aunt Linda. If you call my Aunt Linda first,
Oh, I already have Linda's contact. Yeah, we hang out. So.
Are you? Oh, wait, are you the Dr. Smith that she met at Applebee's?
Yeah, it was on Tinder, actually. I guess she's one of the ones who hasn't been banned.
No,
from
she's
it.
not an artist nor a doctor. Neither
Yes.
not an artist nor a doctor. No.
Yeah. So she was actually the only other person on Tinder left.
Yeah.
So that's how we met.
Oh, she
And,
has a big crush on you.
Okay.
Oh no.
Well,
64 years young.
Buckland has never had someone have a crush on him. He doesn't know how to react to it.
does she? How does? So does that affect art? Does that
affect you?
So I have her number. I guess I call.
Yes, call.
And I say, I need art.
And then we can get a few pieces.
And she
And
will
I
send
say,
you.
let's keep this.
She will send you
Let's
my
keep-
entire portfolio from preschool till now.
And I guess-
my current work, of course, is published, and the publishing companies have rights to those. But anything else you can have for sure.
Okay. So with Linda, do I need to say like this is all professional? Like I don't want to get.
She won't
boundaries
take it that
confused.
way, anyways. It doesn't matter.
Like I don't matter, or
Boundaries
never mind.
don't matter.
It's
She
stupid.
she mixes business with pleasure.
You've got him all flustered. The crush thing has completely thrown him off his game. He's literally never heard of anyone having interest in him before.
How do I?
You will have to take her out to get her to do something for you. It's just
like even to donate artwork to a museum.
But you can go to Applebee's. She's not picky.
Yeah, well, no, she's very picky. She says Applebee's, and I can't always afford. But okay, no, okay, good. At least I know what I'm dealing with.
It's okay. I got her a gift card. She has a lot of gift cards, so if
okay, good.
She just really wants somebody to take her out. Yeah.
Specifically to
As long as
Applebee's,
she's
it really
paying
has to be Applebee's. It sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Linda.
Yeah. She kept saying, "I have a gift card. You just need a tip, and you need to tip big." But yeah, sorry.
But it won't be that big because it's Applebee's. So you're
well, that's
Yeah,
relative.
just
So,
compared to where I
Dr.
normally
London, a lot of his money goes into crypto coin. We've talked about this quite a bit, which has sort of been failing and falling lately.
So that's a fourth time you've been wrong on this
Well,
podcast. I'm not counting personally.
Yeah.
I just think you should know.
Yeah, it's an
these things.
impersonal count.
And I think 5, you lose your medical license, right? If you're wrong about 5 things on a podcast.
On a single episode.
If we want to. So I'm once again, I'm getting more nervous as we go on here. So we can get those art pieces. One thing that the mayor was also asking for is the welcome sign to the museum was destroyed with the hundreds of thousands of break-ins that happened. So he wants us to come up with a new caption for the museum welcome sign. He said welcome doesn't do it anymore because it was too welcoming. Once again, had so many break-ins.
Okay, what about help?
Yeah, do I do help wanted? No,
like need help. So that way, any person, it attracts people who want to help this person who's in trouble.
Okay, so we don't put a question mark on it. It's not need help?
No, it's like handwritten scrawl.
What about stop?
Stop?
Oh.
Need help.
Stop.
People would stop.
People would stop. Maybe they wouldn't come in. They would stop.
Stop. Need help. Okay, I think that gets it all across.
Sounds good.
I think,
Yeah.
well, and maybe
Okay.
even emphasizing, because so a lot of times when I stop at a stop sign, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I start going right after that. Like I'll stop for like a second and then I go. And so maybe we have to say stop and then also have a second sign that says don't go.
You know
It's so adorable. It's so.
this is being
he's
recorded.
radiating. He's
You're just supposed to
radiating
stop
charm.
forever when you get to a stop sign. You're supposed to stay stopped.
So
It's
Cameron,
magnetic.
we're being recorded right now, so you can't say this kind of stuff.
I
It's
shouldn't
being
be
recorded.
confessing to these kind of crimes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just pick anything besides illegal activities.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Do you want to donate our own items to the museum as well, real quick?
Yeah, of course. So let's see. Okay, so I have this. Okay, it's a sculpture. Yeah, but it's a sculpture of the pond, so it's really flat.
Oh.
And I guess it most closely resembles just a flat disc.
Or maybe even like a hole filled with water.
Yeah. Yes, I should say it's it said it's no water in it currently, but yes, so it's more of a.
Are you describing your coffee table? A glass top.
Okay, yeah, okay. I do see how. Well, it's a sculpture of wood. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
with the 4 legs
Mm-hmm.
and the glass top, and then there's a little dip in the. Okay. No, I guess it is a coffee table. Is another. So I can donate this coffee table, I guess, or sculpture, as my family calls it. But yeah, no, that's a fair point. So it's terminologies and cultures. And it's artistry and it's medicine.
Well, once you put it in the museum, it becomes a sculpture. So I think
it's
it's
like
fine.
you'll have modern pieces that are like a chair or something.
As long as you have a red pen and put that grade on it, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so as long as you submit it to teacher and teacher approves of it, then it should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, Cameron, do you have anything you want to donate?
And I will, of course, I'm going to be donating my grandson, who is a piece of art because he's so handsome. And I just think he's so special and so handsome that he needs to be put into a museum. He's a little piece of art. And so I'm going to be I'm going to be shipping my grandson in a crate to the mayor's house. And then he'll, I guess, just put it in the museum or whatever he does.
Well, send it to teacher first.
Oh, yeah.
She has
send
to
it to
grade
teacher.
him.
Teacher can grade my grandson, and then grandson can be put up in the museum or just whatever they want to do with it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Once he's out of my hands, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know that feeling. Okay, so
but he's a special little guy.
Yeah, he's a little nugget. Okay, I feel like that's just about everything. We've each made our donations. Okay. So I guess we have to destroy the chore wheel now. Now I happen to have, so I've had a fire burning for a while, and it is the Olympic flame. I know it was all touch and go with these Olympic Games coming up or past, whichever one it is now. And so I happen to snag an Olympic flame, so I'm going to go ahead and toss that over. Okay, the wheel's gone.
Oh, it was very flammable.
It's very fast.
Wow. That just evaporated.
This week we did make it out of more flammable materials. In part because we started to think ahead in terms of, hey, we destroy this thing every week because we have to, add new chores, take some
process.
Off. Yeah. Let's make it more flammable. So
that destruction, the urge to destroy is a creative urge.
Thank you. And I have to assume that, like the Unabomber, very creative guy.
Very creative guy. He made nails out of wood.
Wow, sculpture.
Yeah.
All right, well, I feel like we're kind of drawn to a close here, but want to say thank you so much to Dr. Hannah Garcia for coming on to show us the art, give us a peek into this microscopic world of psychopharmacological illustration.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
And is there any way for our listeners to keep up with you or anyone you're a fan of?
I guess there's an artist named Marcelina Chavira that I really like. She's at The Death of Marat on Instagram, and you can find a lot of her art at marcelinachavira.com.
Okay. Thank you once again to Dr. Hannah Garcia. Thank you to our producer Cameron. Thank you to Digital in the House. Digital in the House.
I collect Instagram photos of tramp stamps. Apparently that's very toxic. It's the tramp stamp champ is what I'm called. Sort of my friends and my family as well, my parents and everything call me the tramp stamp champ.
Okay. Wow. So you're a psycho.
Tramp stamp champ. Tramp stamp champ. Tramp stamp champ.
Okay. Wow. So you're a psycho.
Actually, we met on Instagram. He liked a photo of one of my lower back tattoos.
That is super toxic.
Tramp stamp champ. Tramp stamp champ. Tramp stamp champ.
Actually, we met on Hinge. Actually, we met on Bumble. Actually, we met on Hinge. Actually, we met on Tinder. Hinge or Bumble.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of it, not ashamed of it.
Actually, we met on Ecstasy. Dopamine. Ecstasy. Dopamine. Ecstasy. Dopamine. Ecstasy. Dopamine. Tinder. Hinge or Bumble.
And that is how we met, is that, of course, while I'm collecting all these photos, I'm also DMing everyone very gross bodily actions that are disgusting and disturbing.
You're a psycho.
Hi, I'm Anna Garcia. I am a psycho.
You're a psycho.
I am an Instagram psycho. No, it adds to it. It's a collaborative effort. Once you send it to the editors, they can frame it however they want. I am a psycho. Once you send it to the editors, they can frame it however they want. Once you send it to the editors, they can frame it however they want. Once you send it to the editors, they can frame it however they want. Once you send it to the editors, they can frame it however they want.